Battlefield 4 Beta was released on October 1st if you were exclusive enough to have pre-ordered the BF4 Digital Deluxe, if you were a Battlefield 3 Premium member, or if you'd wasted your money on Medal of Honor Warfighter. The rest had to wait patiently for 3 full days to get access. Let's make it clear, this is indeed a beta and I will treat it as such. Plenty of people argue that it's a demo, and part of that is EA's fault for promoting the game like that. But to be honest, it's mostly because people are stupid. The simple fact is that we got early access to an old build that is not representative of the final product. I'll do my best to make a guesstimate of what features will be available on release day. My first thought was that Battlefield 4 is more like Battlefield 3.5. The changes that were made, even though it's developed in the brand new Frostbite 3, is not enough to call it 4. Don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Battlefield 3 was an okay game that left a lot to ask for. I think they made the right decision in improving on the product with an awesome core that was lacking in polish. Let's start with some of the completely new additions to the franchise. Naval Warfare with dynamic waves is something we haven't seen before. And before you ask, yes, it's more exciting than fish AI moving out of the way. Unfortunately, the waves in its current state is slightly annoying. It's innovative and mimics reality quite well, but once you're beyond the first, oh my god, it's like real, you focus more on the gameplay itself and the waves can feel more like an obstacle. The Naval Warfare in itself is a fresh addition to Battlefield. So far, the water-ground-air balance feels pretty good, and once it's tweaked, it can only get better. The only water vehicles we gotten our hands on so far is the DV-15 Interceptor and the jet ski. If you're lucky enough to stay alive for a while in the attack boat, you're in for plenty of fun. Try the chain gun for massive destruction, use the guided missile, or if you're able to unlock it before the beta is over on the 15th, take down helicopters with the anti-air missiles. In the only playable map, Siege of Shanghai, we get access to both attack and transport helicopters. I've heard about the Little Bird being available, but I haven't seen it yet. As soon as I got into the attack heli, I felt right at home. It controls basically the same way it did in Battlefield 3. The damage model have been tweaked and gunners will notice a massive change. In Battlefield 3, it was pretty easy to go on insane kill streaks, whereas Battlefield 4 makes it much harder. DICE have lowered the damage output and I suspect the splash damage might have been altered as well. Overall, a nice tweak that creates a challenge for the gunner and makes it possible for the infantry to run for cover, which was almost impossible in BF3 once the gunner got their eyes on you. One of the top items on my wish list for Battlefield 4 was to be able to have separate settings, and especially mouse sensitivity, for ground and air vehicles. Unfortunately, it's not implemented in the beta, and I don't have high hopes for it to be implemented at launch. When it comes to ground vehicles, there are not too many changes compared to Battlefield 3. In the Battlefield 4 beta, we have access to battle tanks, APCs and transport vehicles with onboard weapons. When the full game is released, we're going to be introduced to several new vehicles, though most of them will be from earlier Battlefield games. In essence, the infantry gameplay is a direct heritage from Battlefield 3, but there's enough change for it to feel fresh, and there are many paths to explore. I was happy to see that the Recon class got C4 back. In Bad Company 2, that was one of their true advantages. The Assault class could have C4 as well, but then you had to change your main weapon to a shotgun. My hope was that this single change would get more snipers to move from the back to the front line. Unfortunately, the roofs in Siege of Shanghai are perfect camping spots and way too many snipers set up their tents there. Battlefield 4 also brings back the motion sensor for the Recon class. Instead of putting down a tugs like in Battlefield 3, you now have a ball that you can throw to make enemies pop up on the minimap. One of the main jobs of the support class is to provide the soldiers with ammo. To begin with, you only get an ammo pack that supplies bullets to a single soldier. As you rank up playing the support class, you eventually get your hands on the ammo box. With it, you'll be able to resupply several soldiers with not only ammo, but explosives and gadgets as well. The engineer class has gone through a small change as well. The RPG is now the weapon you use to lock on vehicles that are laser painted by the recon class. There's not much to say about the assault class, except for the fact that it's still called assault and not medic, which is much more intuitive. There are plenty of new interesting features in Battlefield 4 that really makes it feel like a new, fresh take on the franchise. For instance, you can choose to have the map on your second screen or on your tablet. The map itself has also gone through a lot of changes, and the ability to see where your squad is in relation to the objective is a step in the right direction. To be able to swim underwater, not only as a cosmetic feature, but as a way to dodge bullets, it's not only fun, but also a change in the way the game is played. Be careful though. If you stay under the water for too long, you eventually start to take damage. You know the kill stealers that just wait for you to damage the enemies until they can go for the last shot? No longer. If you deal enough damage, you get the message "assist counts as kill", and the kill goes to you. I know a lot of people on the audio team at DICE. Their job on Battlefield 3 was good, but considering their expertise, I knew they were able to do it even better. I think that DICE and EA were in such a hurry to release the game that the developers didn't have time to polish everything. In Battlefield 4, the audio team really got a chance to show what they could do. There's just that much more oomph in almost every asset. Speaking of audio, DICE has finally decided to implement the much asked for voice over IP. Despite the lag and the bugs, I have high hopes for the game on release. What we got access to so far is only a small fraction of what's to come. If you're into shooters, this is a game I highly recommend. It excels when played with friends and on a PC with high-end hardware. Battlefield 4 is lacking in some areas, and that's the reason I can't give it the highest grade. Even so, I give it a 4 out of 5 and recommend it as a must-buy. I'll be playing it a lot over the coming months, so stay tuned for more Battlefield 4 footage. Until next time, I'm Reachground, stay frosty.
Now you're a hero, you managed to beat the whole damn game.